What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Crew 2. And well, as y'all know, it is Wednesday, which means the new summit is now live. And for this week, we have the Vegas Strip. And I have to admit, I have a feeling the summit's probably going to be pretty dang intense. I mean, that Nissan Skyline GTR R34 Lucky Dragon looks pretty dang awesome. I really do love the body kit on that vehicle, plus those rims, my goodness. I cannot wait to actually try out this car here in this summit. But in gold, though, we have the legendary half set boosted for the street class as well, so it's always going to be nice to have a loot digger set for any of the classes. These sets are always useful, trying to use them to actually get better part sets like a nitro chemist and or change some of the affixed stats on them. We all know how expensive some of that can definitely get, but moving over to the next summit, guys, April Fool's opening is going to have a monster truck on the cover. It's going to have the unicorn rooftop as a platinum reward, so I would say that's probably going to bring some mixed reactions for that being a platinum reward, but at least it kind of looks cool, I think. And then in gold we have the Beetle as well, so that's also going to be a pretty awesome car. If you guys do have that thing though, luckily you'll get some money back for that. Almost every single event in this summit is going to be a mixed event, so this one's definitely going to be pretty interesting. And then on the top of the summit, you guys are probably going to notice the Crown Victoria Limousine is going to be a drift vehicle now, and or I guess that's probably going to be one of the weirdest cars ever. I guess we might as well just start drifting buses as well, but I will be doing a video on that car as well, so stay tuned. But that's definitely going to be pretty interesting. But moving over to the next summit, guys, is probably going to be one of the most anticipated cars in the game. The Bugatti Divo Magma Edition has always been a favorite, so it's always going to be nice to see this car make a return. And as usual, I would say this summit's probably going to be pretty dang intense. And then the next summit's going to be the Wheels Clash, and for this, it's going to say the Live Reward Boosted Sniffer for this, but I do think it's going to be bugged out because it's going to be showing a Nitro Chemist set for the touring car class. So, but similar to the Beetle guys here on the April Fool's opening, you will also get the money back for that Z4. And then moving over to the Vegas Trip Summit here, guys, starting off with the first event. So for this, it is indeed going to be a speed trap. It's also going to be the Las Vegas one as well. So this one's luckily pretty easy. Do keep in mind, guys, once again, you can only go about 410 miles per hour with your drag car if you are solo. So if you guys are looking to go speeds above 410, you're most likely going to have to slipstream somebody. But moving over to the next skill is going to be a slalom, and for this one I actually use the Vector V40R. This slalom is also going to be kind of open, so I would say the Vector V40 and the 1414 Demon are both going to be very good options on this one. And luckily, guys, I would say this is probably one of the easier slaloms as well. But moving over to the next one is going to be an off-road slalom as well. So for this one, I actually used a monster truck on this, which is kind of interesting because as you guys will see, all my friends are using rally raid vehicles. But ever since my one friend Kill Mode actually used a monster truck, I have to follow in his suit and use these as well. And if you guys do have a score breaker set on these, I would recommend trying it out. It's kind of hilarious how good these actually do on these slaloms. But moving over to the first event, honestly took me for a surprise, guys. So it's going to be the Harley-Davidson race, which for this one is going to be the one that's around like 9 to 10 minutes with one of the bikes. I got 8 minutes and 24 seconds, and one thing I do want to point out, my driving was honestly pretty terrible in this event, and I was actually going to redo it because I would say I could probably shave off a lot of time on this one, but I was like, you know what? My goal for this is to not honestly be perfect on these events. I kind of want to show everybody that you can actually still get a good score even if you're not perfect. So running one of the oddball vehicles known as the Porsche 911 Carrera 4S, I still managed to get around 8 minutes and 24 seconds with some pretty interesting driving. And I do want to mention as well, the ones who are getting like 7 minutes and 40 seconds, I noticed they're only like 9 to 10,000 points more than I am. So I honestly wouldn't stress too much about this event. But moving over to the next one, you guys will have to do another hypercar event with the Lamborghini Reventón, which I really do love driving this vehicle. This is actually a really good car. Do keep in mind, by the way, guys, this is going to be going to Vegas, so if you guys do want a really high time on this one, you're most likely going to have to slipstream somebody, mainly because this entire event is going to be basically highway. But Moving over to the next event though is going to be a street race, and for this one, I once again use the Porsche 911 Carrera. I would actually consider this car to be slightly underrated in many ways because I think this thing is really good. It's also going to be the Strip West as well, so be prepared to turn all over the place on some of these races, guys. There's definitely a lot of those, and to my surprise, even though this car is going to be an 8-speed, it still did a lot better than I thought. And then moving over to the next event, you guys will get to drive the Lucky Dragon Skyline. That's going to be the Platinum Reward. I have to admit, I'm really digging this car so far just from this event. This thing honestly looks so dang cool. Plus, it's also pretty decent. Do keep in mind though, guys, this car is going to be base level as well. So it's not going to be the fastest thing out there. It's also not going to have pro settings on it either. But moving over to the next event, is going to be a hypercar race where you guys get to use the Maserati concept. I'm also not going to attempt to pronounce the middle name of this vehicle either because I'm most likely going to botch it up, but overall guys I have to say the Maserati concept's actually a pretty dang good hypercar, and of course this race is going to have a lot of turns as well, so if you guys are using manual, do keep in mind I noticed this car can do very good around these corners in about second to third and sometimes fourth gear depending on the turn, so do keep that in mind. I did notice this car is definitely going to be pretty good. It's also going to be one of those hypercars I really haven't seen all that often, but moving over to the last event, guys, you will get to drive an Alpha GP vehicle on one of the new events known as Las Vegas US Speed Tour Cities. I actually really do think these races are a lot of fun. I also think they're pretty dang challenging. For this one, I decided to look through the leaderboards and see which car people are not using, and I actually picked the Disruption Edition for this, guys, and I would actually say this is going to be a pretty decent car. Is it going to be the best option? I would probably say the RB14, even the KTM Expo. I might even throw in the Mark X to be better than the RB14 Disruption, but regardless, I would still say this car did pretty dang good. I do want to mention, by the way, guys, I will be doing videos on all of the Alpha GP vehicles as well, so definitely stay tuned for that. But overall, I would say the summit's definitely going to be pretty dang fun. I would also say some of these events might be a bit of a challenge, but overall, I do hope you guys can get the Skyline Lucky Dragon because my goodness, that car looks awesome. And let me know if you guys have any questions at all in the comments below. Let's jump right into this.
you